Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Right. Pretty narrow range last night, but it does look like they might extend. And for some key levels here, yesterday's low was 145. Retracing some old numbers from a while ago. Below here. Okay. E-mini is moving higher. Man, the E-mini just looks really good. I mean, yesterday's move was not too spectacular, but they're really trying to extend it in the overnight. Today might be a little more choppy because we did just have two trend days in a row, so you need to keep that in mind. And let's post the link here. Seems that the E-mini is driving up because of this earnings from Google. Copy. Found an indicator yesterday that I wanted to use because I always my deltas are really good for my for programming strategies and stuff, but it doesn't quite show you everything that's going on because it doesn't show you the interbar stuff. So wanted to download that. got a bit of volume going there into that price at 16.5. Might be significant. There we go. I'm just going to remove my cumulative delta 1. Same. Just get bars now. Okay, so we're already breaking the overnight low. We're already in position. They did have to plow through a little bit of volume to get through it, so I would expect them to continue to go through that, but we could be careful. Okay. Oops. There, once again, we're getting huge icebergs, and they just hit them mercilessly. It might have just gotten tricked out. Yeah, the run in Bitcoin is pretty crazy, isn't it? It's going to be interesting to see what my this indicator says. We didn't actually get a higher high in transaction value, so I'm gonna have to say that this move is almost purely speculation. They're 100% speculating on whether or not there's going to be a ETF. If they deny the ETF, and mind you, I think the date that I saw is like a month away, right? Which gives them plenty of time to speculate and rally. But if they don't approve the ETF, oh my gosh. And if they do approve the ETF, I think you get like a sell in the news sort of a thing. Well, holy shit, they just took out 78.04 there like it was nothing. When ZF downticked. I was looking for an entry short there, and I wasn't sure if it was at 14.5 or not, and I guess it was, and now it's passed. Pretty difficult action for us. It's FOMO again, absolutely. Yeah, I'm really glad that you put out that note yesterday that I did to the Patreon, because it was like this whole thing doesn't make sense. I want no part of it. I want no part of it. But it is probably going to go up for the near foreseeable future. That action over the weekend was bullish. And then this action that we got today is just insane bullish. Insanely bullish. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they go up and touch that 10,000. Fact. Just kind of depends on how many speculators are left and how many new people get brought in by this ETF news. So I think if everybody buys back in, we could get to 10K, and then if you get more, then you could get over 10K, right? But they're all going to be disappointed one way or the other, because nobody's actually using it. Somebody needs to use Bitcoin for it to keep going up in value. Otherwise, you just have speculators that take profits. It's going to go down. Man, that bid there at 14 seems awfully they're completely ready to just pull all of it if they have to. Here's the thing that makes this really hard to trade is that when you look at here in the 10-year, for instance, I think we've seen some guys point out before some situations where we'll come down to a level like this 14.5 and go through it. And then when you go through it, more size shows up below us, and that ends up being the indication that the buyers are going to hold it, and we reverse. You can see that kind of happened here. We reversed for 2 ticks and then we went lower. And here again, we're doing the same thing. So it's like it can get super thick down here, and they can still just plow right through it. But also it's not as thick as what's above us, so on 28.96, so I was just waiting for it to show me some absorption that was more significant, and that was it right there at 14. Now just the question is if I get filled or not. I think there's enough volume here at 13.5 that I can. Okay. And I did. I'm risking 3 here. Risk 3, and I think that it's 12. Or 5. Oh, wait. The rewards, I should have looked at that a little bit better, because the rewards to the downside that we have here are actually quite a big step. I was thinking 12, but I don't actually see that as a key level anywhere on here. Now in ZB, they've got a little bit to go, probably to
block buy
41.30. Holy shit. Block buy into 14.5, and it didn't even phase that offer. ZF actually ticking down. And CB may be about to tick down too. Okay. So ZF did tick down. Sorry, ZB ticked down. I think they want to take out these 24 and then go to the 16. Whew, I don't know. Go for it there. It seems like we need to get more selling in the 5-year in order for this to go down, and I'm not necessarily seeing the 5-year breaking down here. And mind you, they did get the 14. They haven't gotten 14 to go offer again. I think that's a pretty significant win for the buyers, but having this trouble at 14.5 is not good either. Now the 5-year is absorbing it. 5/4. So we just had the HPI. What was that? 0.2 versus 0.4. Not good. Home prices rose less than expected, essentially. I mean, it makes sense. Well, that was a pretty significant downtick there. All that buying that went through, and then for them to tick down 14, and they took out that 5, it just went. I guess two big orders did hit it, but man. And they did absorb quite a bit at 14. Remember, there was a 7K there at 14 earlier. So if they take out this 13 half, and we are getting a couple of orders hitting it already, and we've already hit it 3. This is now the 4th time we've hit it. You know, that breaks. There's definitely going to be some stops below us. I'm also noticing that some of these, okay, they did tick back up. No, you know what? I don't have my Epic pen. I'm noticing on that tick down that this stacked. I think you can see it right there. And this stacked as well. Okay, well, we got the significant downtick, but they ticked back up. ZB looks like, for the moment, that they want to hold it. ZB gonna take it. $25 was yesterday's low in ZB. Jeez. Well, we're relying on this 14.5, so if they can get a bid at 14.5, I think we're gonna have to get out. Well, we've been here for a long time, and it's been a lot of buying. 12, 13. Okay. So they just cleared a 13K iceberg, and the best they can do is bid 1,400 and two buy orders into 15. It's just so much long delta there. Well, okay, now they've held the bid long enough. They've convinced a couple of people to buy. And the 5 year does well, the 5 year is at the top of its range. I don't know. They might have a hard time getting it to tick up here. Oops, and this is the wrong channel. Okay. So they just hit through their 055 in the 5-year, and that created a bit of a reaction. Auctioning activity has improved now that it's ticked up, so. See, where was it? We got in somewhere around here. Oh, we got that big tick down there. And it looked like it was a really significant one. I think it was a significant one, but that only 80 contracts traded. And I think that my position just wasn't that great. I mean, if I was at 14.5, I could have, seen the 13K and have gotten out. So when there's 13K, they're usually going to go through that one for a few. It's okay. It was only -2. Broadening wedge. Who the hell?
Block cell.
Sorry about that. I see. So there's some pretty heavy pretty heavy support below us. Or the big block sell there at 15, huh? ZP's already almost. No, they were it was my parents. So in Utah today is a holiday. Today is like the creation of our state, sort of a thing. So it's kind of like a second 4th of July for us. So I guess my parents decided that they wanted to help us dig a little bit. And I told them I'd be out there when I'm done with my trading because I was planning on doing that this morning anyways. But they didn't want to wake anybody up and they didn't think that I would hear it. I guess they didn't realize that it's like right here. It's such a... Okay, well, I don't like the way that I got filled on that one. And especially that the ZD is ticking up there. Seems bad. The way that ZF is holding that 057 though is good. There's a pulling there. So we need to watch this. If this ticks down, what does this go to? The sound really amplifies through the mic. Oh, sorry. And I didn't mute it when I went to check today. So you probably heard that whole conversation. Come on. Okay, there's a cell program. See that all those 8s? Okay, well, it got below 1400, but now it's almost 3000. Probably because they continue to hit this iceberg in the 5-year. That one looks pretty solid though. Oh, he could hear it, but they could hear it, but they couldn't understand what we're talking about. I'm talking about my sprinkler system. Okay, so this needs to build a little bit better. We need pulling here at 055. Yeah, okay, so now it was 6, it's 4. The 5-year didn't tick down. Come on. Come on. Oh, that must have been the garage. That's why the bird is freaking out. Okay, so there's some stacking here. There are definitely some... Okay, so that's stacked big time, but now I'm also seeing stacking here. Yeah. And this is, of course, nothing significant now. It's pulled all the way to 2. It was 6. So almost half of that is pulled, so that's really good. Good. Okay. Are they going to pull here at 14? See that the 14 is staying so far. 5-year. Oh dear, what's happening? Yeah, okay. You need to sell through this in the 5-year, then maybe you might see some of that pull. Here's the 30. Okay. Still not pulling. Still not through. I'd have to say it took a lot of buying to get them up to 15. Oof. And for it to tick back to 14 that easily is really significant, I think. But we do need to see this 5-year break. And the 5-year may decide to not make a new low. And keep that one in mind too. But I like the offers stacking behind us. I like this iceberg. What's wrong with my mouse? Got something going on in Chrome. It's killing us or something. Tariffs are the greatest. Oh, I didn't see that he had tweeted that tariffs were the greatest. I was was arguing with some people on the Donald, like, no, tariffs are not the greatest, they're just negotiating. But he did kind of say that, didn't he? Tariffs are the greatest. Either a country has treated the United States unfairly on trade, negotiates a fair deal, or it gets hit with tariffs. It's as simple as that, and everybody's talking. Remember, we are the piggy bank that's being robbed. All will be great. Okay. Well, they just gobbled that up there at 14.5. I don't know if that's going to hold. I'm awfully tempted to take a tick. Well, ZF is still saying that they want to break the low. Equities are moving up. So I saw a little bit of pulling. Okay, so now that's 38. Okay, so there was the iceberg there. You can't see it anymore though. We're holding that offer. There's this thing right here though, is okay, maybe a little bit of pulling here in the 30. What was that dog going on about? I mean, we built a decent offer here in the 5-year, but then you got all of these people stacked up at 05. And the ZB just sitting there on the edge waiting for somebody to sell all of that. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, they did it. Now notice there was 900 bid and only 754 went. And everything is, oh wow. Okay, so it just moved. You see him moving it? Okay, we don't need those anymore. Let's reset the DOM. I wish I could remember what ITB means. Seems like I thought it was important at one time. Okay. What are you gonna do in the 5-year? Come on. So I think we need to be a little careful here because that pulling in the 5-year might be a little trap. Like we haven't ticked through 047 yet. If they tick through 047 and they pull again, then we could really start to get some extension. But as it stands right now, that could have just been a luring us in sort of a thing. They definitely got through the volume in that. I mean, look right here, how this was all white and now it's gone. The only white is above us. And you can see the big order in the 30-year. We broke 24, but buyers hit that offer with 835 contracts. Could be wrong, but I'm glad I didn't immediately sell. Oh, so he's backing up what I just said. Yeah. Although I continue to contend that you can't build up that much volume and then not extend. You know what I mean? Like this on the upside, right there, that tail, that's what you should see at a higher low. This right here, that's an edge that's just begging for somebody to come in and break it. That's like the masochist coming in and saying, just sell me, please. Yeah. Well, I got a good position, right? because the best I could have gotten was 15.5. And I'm not sure that I could have gotten filled there. The 5-year hasn't broken yet. That tick down in the ZB, I think, was like, it had to happen because they touched it too many times. This one in the 10 and in the 30 is going to be a lot harder, I think. I mean, this still looks good. Okay, there you go. Come on, where's the volume? There's too much absorption there. Well, there was definitely stops. Yeah, 155 is such a low node. See, the thing that is frustrating to me with my trading right now is that it feels to me like I'm getting pretty good at telling where the edges are. It's just that, like, I'm always wrong on the direction. Or, and I'm not always wrong. I mean, I got this one right. But I don't have enough of a probabilistic edge right now. And because of that, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in my trades. And so I'm taking a lot of early profits or, holding on for things the wrong amount of time and not getting out early enough. And, and it's this whole range versus trend thing. Like today, it's easy. We broke the low of the day. But when you look at the daily chart, pretty obvious that this is something that is going to keep going. To me, that's something that has to go lower. So, of course, look for a sell. That's easy. I'm not going to get filled. So, like, this is a good example of an edge where, okay, there was a stop run. It's at 2000. So that's where I was like, okay, there was somebody sitting down there looking to catch it, and they did so. It was right there. And then we got an uptick. So you get an uptick like that, often what happens is they tick back down and test the other side, and this is too strong. So for me to be 1387, I might get lucky here. I mean, they might even go for another leg, and I'll regret it. But I might get lucky here and get filled, right? And then they're not able to get through it, and then they tick up again, and then they push this 14 harder or something like that. Story of our lives, brother. And the thing is, you know what? I've been watching some Futures Trader 71. Which, by the way, did you know that he created another website with like this training that's super expensive? And I'm like, isn't that kind of like antithetical to everything that you've done? But anyways, irrelevant. I was watching some of his videos and he talks a lot about emotional capital. I think back in April, I lost a lot of emotional capital. Because it just did not have, I just have not had the confidence lately on my probabilities. So many trades where I would have said, well, I think it might go down, but I'm not sure. Okay, good deal. See the way that ticked down, and there's a lot being absorbed at 22. I think obviously it can always continue, and especially when we see a lot of volume like that, that can mean that if they get through it. But I think the way that ticked really made me feel like that was somebody looking to get filled. It's trying to push it. Yeah, you see how aggressively they hit back at 13. Yeah. Did I take 13.5 or did I take... I took 13.5, right? Yes. Oh no, I took 13. I do see that the buyers are trying to catch it there, and it came back very quickly. So I really played that right. You don't want to get 2 ticks against you. Like, if that's our risk, you have 2 ticks against you, that's probably not the best action for you, right? That's interesting. Should point out that the buy in the 30-year was pretty significant too. Must be coming off because of the E-mini? Oh yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Let's do it with the 30. I like the way that the 30's been looking to show it. So there was the top. There was the top in the E-mini. And then the E-minis come back. And so the bonds have come back. Pretty significant correlations. So I don't think I'm going to take another trade. We'll see. But I do want to stay focused. The whole The whole thing this week is to try and stay focused. I feel like did a little better today. We'll see that if I hadn't taken that profit down at there at 13, that would have come completely against me. Wow. Well, that buy was better than all that selling, man. should have reversed on the stop run. No, I don't think that's a trade that I would like to take, but man alive. Man. And look at this at 15.5. I can actually take that one. No, I don't wanna. They're gonna go through that one probably. It's like I was saying, like once you get over 10K, the probability of them going through it for at least a tick is pretty high. It's almost like you need to stay focused here. Yeah. Why would you buy here if you can buy here, right? So an iceberg that big kind of becomes a barrier to anything else happening until they've broken through it, because buyers have too much of a probability of getting filled at 15.5 that they all stack there and nobody buys into 16. So usually what you have to have happen is you break through it, and you might even break through 15, but that's uncertain. If you could get filled at 15 and you still wanted to go long, that would be great, but I don't want to at 15. Then maybe they push back over, and if they're able to hold 15.5 again, then at that point, then maybe people say, oh, well, maybe I won't get filled here, so maybe I should mark it into 160. Okay, so there's you would have gotten filled at 15. 15 was a key price, but it's the opening range midpoint is where we're at right now. This big order here following it up in the 5 years, pretty interesting too. What do we got here on the upside? Okay, well, we've got a really nasty volume node at 17.5. And we got the opening range high. So we could potentially do 15 to 17, and then what would your risk on the downside would be 14. That one's actually acceptable.
acceptable, I think, because you got this edge here that might hold, you know. I think it might be a little late for it though. I mean, they've stacked there at 15 quite a bit, and there's the 057. Though ideally, I would prefer to take a trade above the VWAP. Then the problem with that one becomes, if say we buy at 16, then you got like this 17 and a half resistance, only 2 ticks of reward isn't very good. I'm also a little concerned about this big order in the 5-year. Seems really suspicious to me. Maybe he's a big guy that really just wants to get filled. I don't know. I guess it should be pointed out as well that 15 and a half was the overnight low. So, yeah. I wish I had gone through that analysis right at the beginning, because the 15 actually probably was a really good buy. I don't know if it's actually going to get to the 17, but it looks like it was a good trade. See, this is where my problem is now, is that when we got that move down, I usually go, oh, okay, I got it. This is great. I'm so good. Let's talk about how awesome I am. And then we got this move up that was way better than the trade that I made. And then I probably could have seen, but I didn't because I was talking. Now, on the split side of this, I did say I'm not sure if I want to take any trades after that because that was a good one and I don't want to push my luck. So it's kind of funny, you know, one of the things I was thinking was, how did I know that that was there? Well, I had a bias to the downside. I saw that we had come up a little bit and that they were still having a really, really hard time, even after all of that buying of going lower. And so that's why I sold it. So I was looking for the slowness in the absorption for the entry. And then I was looking for the rush down as the exit. If it's range bound, I should really be looking for exactly the opposite, right? Should be looking for the rush down with the big order, you know, trying to push it as a place to enter. And then when it starts to get slow, you get out. Okay, so it's an okay tick up with some pulling. This big guy in the 5-year is still not filled. This is really interesting. The big order's still there. There's also a lot of big orders below us in the 10-year. Now, if they can break out of, if they can start testing through 17, then you get the other side of this, which is 18.5. That one actually makes a lot of sense. So this is where I would take it, is at 16. So take it at 16 and see how much extension they can get above the VWAP. Okay. But how often do you actually get to effectively use the reverse button? Yeah, well, I've never done it before, that's the thing. I think the one on that one, you know, so kind of the things that I'm going to be looking for is, one, it's a stop. It was definitely stop run. They broke the low, and then you saw the orders go through at multiple prices, and it was like all at once, and they went, right? So it was a stop run. And then the number two was that there actually was quite a few buyers there to catch the stop run. So that's number two. And then the number three thing was fishy business, right? There's this big order here in ZB. There's this big order down here in ZF, and I don't know what that was going on doing. And then also the cumulative delta was not lower, not even close. It was actually really, it was a really, really good reversal opportunity. And I'm so focused on getting out that I don't even think about that. I think that probably I should try and take the reversal just so that I can recognize that opportunity, because what if I wasn't short and I saw that? I should have bought that for sure. So it's kind of, you got to stay in it even if you just took a winner. Well, if we had bought 15, we were risking 2. Maybe that 3 might have been a signal to get out. I think you might be able to get the 17, but we shall see. Now that it's 8:13, we're starting to come into that counter trend period. So I think we ought to be cautious about that. Yep. They're really having a hard time with 16.5, aren't they? Wonder, was that, I wish I could go back and see if that was How much volume was there before? I don't think it was that much. I don't think it was point of control before. Could be wrong about that, but I suppose it doesn't look to me like that much volume has gone through here yet. Okay, send down tick. See, there's just too much resistance and not enough reward to justify taking a trade in here. And now you get into this point where, like, we're in the middle of this, like, all of this volume here. You really want to mess with all that volume here in the 30-year. This just we could really get stuck here. Okay, so an aggressive sell there. I suppose here at 16.5 you could probably... Was it here? Yeah, there was a sell here. And then you're risking 2 to 3. And you're making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I suppose that one was an okay trade too. I think probably through this whole area. I think they're going to build up a lot more at 15.5. Like 15.5 was the midpoint. I think that's going to be a key level. I think that probably will build a lot more volume there, but it just doesn't look like a good place, in my opinion. I guess now would be a good time to post my Bitcoin charts. What we got here? Holy snap, 184. It's my E-mini. Yeah, there we go. Good deal. Man, this chart. I'll show you here in a second. The Bitcoins. It's the 24th. Bitcoin. So We are about on par with our highest reading ever. Since maturity, there was this time period over here, which was quite frankly ridiculous. And since we were in such an immature market with, very low volume, we can pretty much ignore all of the pre-Mt. Gox time period. But where we're at right there is a little crazy. And I'm seeing, let's see what the crypto subreddits saying right now. Blah, 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 blah. People talking about being mean to new people. Don't actually see. Let's try top. Bitcoin dominance is increasing. That's important. August 15th is the date. So a little under a month. Okay. Ethereum is actually down? Is it really? A watch list. Ethereum. Gosh. Ethereum has not gone up at all. That's kind of weird. Bitcoin might be might be about to go higher.
Okay. Well, someone's playing a big offer in ZB and is afraid to get filled. Oh, yeah, it disappeared, didn't it? It disappeared in both of those markets once it got up to this level. Well, that's kind of weird. See, I'm wondering if these big orders were intended to push the market away. Because you see how it's here, it's above, and here it's below, and we went down. So I'm wondering if there must have been a spread trade of some kind. And the ratio seemed right, it's 5-to-1. That would be about the right ratio for the FYT, or I don't know what it's called, but for the ZVZF spread. But the question is, which way did they go? What do you think? Bitcoin goes still down till 5K before she goes up to 10 to 20? I don't know. The indicator says that the low end of value is at it was 3K. I can calculate it again, but I'd have to calculate it again. But it's going to be around 3K. But there's news, right? Like, people are buying it because of these ETFs. So I think that at the moment, my indicator and my method of trading Bitcoin is irrelevant right now. It doesn't matter. Because the only thing that matters is that people are buying for the ETF. So I think, especially after today's buy, that it could probably continue. And what price it's going to go to is anybody's guess, really, because it's really all depends on how much money comes in. So we can point to key technical levels that you can use as reference, but the honest answer is we don't really know how far it's going to go. All we can do is watch the price action and see where they start to have trouble. And I do think that you're gonna get some places where they start to have trouble, because this market, if a market is driven almost completely by speculation, then that means that if you get even tiny little bit of selling, they all puke. They all freak out and say, "Oh, I don't want to lose any profits, and get out, and maybe I can buy back in lower and try and catch it." So you're going to get that kind of action. So I think that you're going to get things like, I'm going to draw a picture here. So here's the Bitcoin action. Let's just minimize this so that we get like a, and we can go like this and get a slightly smaller pen. Okay. Yeah. All right. So can you see that? So what you're going to see is, you're going to see, like we saw here, you're going to see a good trend up, followed by, and then really slow trend up, followed by. That's probably what you're going to see, because it's speculation driven, and it's probably going to go. Then you're probably going to get something like that. So when you start to see really quick moves up, does that make sense? So parabolic rise, okay? So when you stop getting smooth trends, see, this is kind of a smooth trend, a little bit of a parabola, but smooth trend, quick sell, balance, and you're gonna see smooth trend, quick sell, balance, okay?
But then one of these times you're going to see really quick sell. Get out. Get out when they start to get, when you start to see sellers panicking and you're getting stop runs to the upside and things like that. Get out at that point when it gets too fast. Bum, 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 ba-dum. But then when it does break, when you get that sort of an action, and it might happen when the ETF goes live, it's going to be like this. It's going to go out really fast because it's all speculators. They have no reason to be in here anymore. The thing that they wanted happened. It's done. The ETF is going to go live. The institutional investors are going to get in. And then it's going to crash. And all of these institutional investors are going to be screwed and are going to be selling with you. So get out when you see the impulsive moves up. That's my only recommendation I can. And I'm not even making a recommendation. I'm just telling you how I would trade it. You gotta be careful about that. I don't want to be accused of being an advisor. I'm not an advisor, and I'm not making advice. I don't want anybody to go in and say I took your advice and then I lost money. Okay, I'm just telling you that's the way that I look at it. That's what I expect to see happen. Slow moves up, quick moves down. Slow but steady parabolic rise, and then crescendo buying, followed by something like that. And what is this? What do we call this? This is a bubble. Why is it a bubble? Because the true value of Bitcoin is probably something down here like this. Make sense? And what we know right now is that you are here probably. We're probably right here. Okay. And what do we know right here? This gap right here is the highest it's ever been in Bitcoin. That's what we know. So if we really do get this, it's going to be insane. And because it's not a value-driven move, I can't be in it unless we really start to see that transaction value going up, but super concerned about it. But I don't want to trade if it's not my trade. And, you know, this bubble action seems like just an easy way to screw yourself, personally. So I don't want to mess with it. And that's me. What else? It's time for me to go. Sorry, let me. That's not what we want. It needs to be smaller than that.
This Bitcoin is actually getting now so much happening that I have to double the volume bars. Now you can see it. So can I show you guys something else here in Bitcoin? If I make this big. Okay. So here's today. What happened? In the futures, at least what happened. Buying. Okay. Here, buying to a new high. Here, not a new high. And they all sold on this one. So what really was this? They took their profits. And that's why it's flat here. What this is now like support accumulation area. So if it continues, we should continue to see this be really slow and quiet. And then boom, it's like a cup and handle. The 113,100 is the prior week's low. Oh, you know what? I do have it up. Where is it? I was just thinking, like, I wish I had ZT up. But then I realized, hey, you know what? I have a ZT one. Do I not have the chart thing? Okay, so there was nothing in ZT. And what about UB? Was there anything in UB? No, UB is the same thing. John is going to take one.
Well, I would like to take it, but even though it's a vacation day and everything, I don't want to be taking trades during times when I normally wouldn't be able to trade. Because that's just going to make me feel bad about how I wish I could trade longer. So I don't see any other comments on what I just said. Do you know anything about Ubuntu and GitHub? Can't connect to the server. That is kind of weird. Not the best speculator. I'm not so sure that I'm the best speculator either, though. So my trade in Bitcoin is based on value, long-term value. Speculation is like the time frame that I seem to see the best is more of like a 30-minute hourly time frame. So you can see that here, although I did good today, but you know, the scalping is super hard. So yeah, both Krill and WGET. It depends on why I would say it can't connect, but that's kind of weird. I haven't touched Ubuntu in like a really long time. Anyways, I do have to go outside, so I will catch you guys later tomorrow.